Bobby, why do you think it is that they still, and by they I mean the greater WoW playing public, they still get upset about the never to materialize dance studio feature that was on the Wrath of the Lich King box, but never actually delivered either at launch or later or now or ever? Why do you think that one feature out of all the features that have been rumored or announced or half canceled or whatever, why is that the one that just keeps on coming up? What's the deal?
Because the Wrath of the Lich King, the land of Iceland, was going to promise us dancing on the ice dancing.
Oh, well, I hadn't looked at it from that angle. Because I don't think people care that much about dancing. The /dance thing got pretty old pretty quick, and so I don't think people should care. But now that you say there was going to be ice dancing,
also, the opportunity to custom build dabbing into your character, I guess, would be cool.
I now regret the question. Hello and welcome to The Instance. I'm Scott Johnson. That's Bobby Frankenberger.
Hi.
What's up, man?
How are you doing?
Good. Good. I'm doing all right. I have some energy today that has no obvious source.
Well, I know from talking to you last week that it's not because of the source isn't coffee.
No.
Because you said coffee smells and tastes like grandma breath.
Yeah, kind of does. And did I say grandma breath? I might have. I don't remember that.
You said it smells like your grandma's breath.
Well, she died a long time ago, so
that wasn't last week. I guess it was. I think that was actually in our. I'm going to run right over the sad death part.
Yeah. It takes a certain skill to do that. By the way, nice work.
the teaser that we recorded.
That is when I did it. You're right. So you come to me with, like, if somebody makes a great cup of coffee, I'll do it. Because they're known for it, or it's actually good, or whatever. For the most part, though, it's just not my thing. So it's not from that. It's not from. But
is that more of a curiosity thing? That's why you would try it? Is just out of curiosity?
Yeah, just to see what everyone's raving about a little bit. Like if my wife's going on and on, I'm like, well, all right, let's see what's going on. Unless it's like $7 or something, then I'm like, well, why are we doing that? Just bring me a water with maybe a lime in it. You know?
Yeah, and so it's not like it's just never in your household either. Because I know I've shared a cup of coffee. I haven't literally shared a cup of coffee with Kim. Like we didn't drink from the same cup, but
no.
But I've had a cup of coffee with Kim before.
Yeah, we were in whatever that place was called here in Salt Lake City. A couple of short months ago.
I had a cup of coffee in Salt Lake City.
That's right.
With Kim.
Yeah, and you can now confirm that the long-held rumors that coffee is illegal in Utah is made up. It's not true.
Well, we did have to buy the cup of coffee out of the back of a truck in an alleyway.
You're not supposed to tell them those details. Supposed to skip that part. But here I am with a Dr. Pepper Zero Sugar. I haven't even drank from it yet. It's open, but it's just sitting here. So it's not from that. I really couldn't tell you why I've got a little energy today. It's hot outside. I should be kind of logy and slow and,
Now, when you say hot, what do you mean?
Like it's 100 degrees right now. Like,
well, okay, yeah, that's definitely hot.
97 point something here in my town, and
it doesn't matter what the humidity is. That's still hot.
It's still hot regardless. Yeah. Now humidity is low, and that helps. But still, I should be moving a little slower, just feeling a little less energetic. But for some reason, I am like jazzed to do an episode where we talk about, World of Warcraft and our lives. So
yeah.
Y'all home ready for that? You guys ready for my energy? I don't know if they are. You know what I mean?
We ignore the chat. We talked about this last time. We ignore the chat for the first half of the show now.
That's true. Don't even say anything. You're not even there.
Them. You can say anything you want, but I'm not reading it.
No. And I should take this opportunity because it's a good transition to tell people that for the longest time I'd threatened to move various shows to their own place online when it comes to YouTube. Because
you were like, don't make me do this. I'm threatening.
I'm going to turn this router around and send bits that way. I've decided to finally just pull that trigger. And we'd already had a channel and there's already people sub to it. And it's like, well, why reinvent the wheel? We'll just use it. So youtube.com/@theinstanceshow. Okay. They make you do ats now for new custom URLs at YouTube. It's a change that affects everybody making a new channel from here on out. I think I hate it, but I think it's to make the @ and the unique name they can use in other ways. I don't just simply mean like a social media type thing or anything like that, but now they have these like monikers they can use in other ways. We'll see if any of it was worth it. I don't like it though.
We kept saying don't at me and don't at me bro, but they added the instance show now.
The bro did it and it pissed me off. But it is there, the instance show. That's the @ If you just search for it, you'll find it. But sub up to the channel if you haven't, because the show is live there simultaneously with the Twitch channel. So if you have a preference for that, then good, you're covered over there. I'll be monitoring that chat just kind of out of the corner of my eye occasionally when we get to chat, just to see if they have any questions over there. Still mainly on the Twitch. But anyway, that's there now. So when you're like, I'm a YouTube music user and I use all my podcasts there. Cool. Sub to that show over there. It will give you uninterrupted access to this moving forward. And if you're like, I don't want to go anywhere, I'm just going to get the video where I always get it on the Frog Pants one. Good news. I'll be adding those to that playlist as well. So they're virtually to you. There'll be no change at home. I'm just letting you know. Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's cool to have a place. I've thought about doing some shorts for a long time, World of Warcraft related. And that's having a place where I could easily put them and people will definitely see them rather than me making a TikTok and nobody seeing it. Well, I guess some people, whatever. Sure. Anyway,
it's all about what the algorithmic gods grant you at this point.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I've had this idea. Tell me what you think, Scott.
Go. I like it.
I had this idea. Whenever I'm trying to learn a new class in World of Warcraft, the guides that exist are terrible.
Yeah, you don't love them. You've said this before, I think, and
yeah, I think I've told you about it before.
Sure.
But so,
like, give me an example. If I go to Icy Veins and they got guides on how to be a better paladin, ret paladin.
I looked all around, and whenever I was trying new classes and leveling stuff up, I'm like, I've never played this class before, so I just want the basics. I'm gonna Google, Warlock for beginners. Yeah. And then there's all these guides. Everybody, beginner's guide to Warlock, or like you were saying, Paladin, beginner's guide to Paladin, and you go and look and it's like absolute beginner's guide to Paladin. Okay, well, the retro or the protection Paladin tree is made up of 41 talent points on this side and 41 on this side, and then on the first tier there's going to be this talent, and when you might want to take that is this, and also here's every ability that we have, Shield of the Righteous, and this is what it's used for, and this is the details and the stats. And I'm like, oh my God, this is not a beginner's guide.
No.
Like I'm not trying to take a course on how to play this class. I just want you to tell me the absolute base. Like, so for Protection Paladin, I just would want someone to give me like a 2-minute video that says, okay, Paladin class is a builder spender class. Every time you press, you build up holy power until you have enough to spend it on Shield of the Righteous, because Shield of the Righteous, helps you mitigate damage. And as a tank, that's what you want to do.
Sure.
How do you build it up? You throw your hammer out and you do this other thing. I can't remember the name of the abilities.
Yeah. I mean, you would obviously brush up on that, some of those, some of the nomenclature before you posted your short, but I get your point.
Right. Yeah. The point is, so the video would just be, here's what you do. You build up these abilities until you get enough holy power, and then you press Shield of the Righteous. And that's your basic idea. And then maybe if you have another 30 seconds, I might hang another thing on top of that. But that's all I want to know is, what's the basic idea?
Well, what
am I trying to accomplish?
Have you heard this, though, that the 2-button or the 1-button rotation option assist in the game has made players more likely to learn over time better from that than they would by looking at a guide? In other words, by starting there and then going, oh, I see, this just triggers this. Maybe I'll hit that, and then I'll hit these other 3, and then eventually, I don't need this assist anymore. I'm just doing it.
So yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I haven't heard people say that, but I have experienced that where I'm just like, I'm just gonna mess around with this class and I'll press this button. And you over time you see that there's a pattern.
Pretty quickly.
And so you might learn the pattern, and I know there's other people out there like me because, I can't be the only one, and maybe I am, but that's fine. But I'm always still wanting to know the why, because I don't know why this is the thing you should be doing, and understanding the why, the core concept, the core idea behind why you're doing what you're doing while you're playing this class helps you to improvise if you need to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you don't understand that a paladin is this builder spender class and these are the buttons that you should be pressing in order to be able to press this button, like at the core, that's what you're doing. Everything else hangs on that. Every other decision you're making is leading to that. Ultimately, maybe there's another talent you're going to take that makes it so you build up those talent points faster. Maybe there's another talent you take that, oh, look, there's now this other ability that didn't give you holy power before. Now it also gives you. So you can add that into your builder part of it. But you're all hanging it on this core concept.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I like this is almost the way the devs have to think about it. You have to start with here's the principle and then build on the principle.
Exactly. That's how the class has been designed. So there is a core concept. So I just want to, that's what I'm always looking for. So I'm thinking about, that's something a project when I one day get time, I want to work on. And now that I've said it out loud, someone
you have to
steal
do
it from me.
Yeah. No, you have to hurry and do it because people have heard it.
Now I have to hurry and do it.
Yeah. Or you're screwed. No, I hope that we can do some stuff like that over there. I think the approach will be,
oh yeah, that was the whole point. Go to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, go to the YouTube channel. Check it out, everybody. But I think the approach will be a lot like the approach to the current show, which is think about it differently. We've been playing this game a long time. 20 years is a long time. I think there's some value in thinking about it differently, even down to the raw, basic OG stuff, like you're saying, a rotation, or even just understanding lore or various other aspects of the game. It's so easy to want to just talk about this cake now that it has 15 layers and 20 pounds of frosting on it. Mm-hmm. Let's cut down a few layers and say, well, let's just start with the yeast. I don't know. What's in cakes? Yeast in cakes? Is that a thing? No?
Actually, it's very, very, that's one of the things that makes a typical cake different than bread, is that there's no yeast.
But you could put yeast in a pie.
You could, I guess you could make a cake with yeast. I don't know what that would be like. Maybe there's a yeast cake. Maybe that's a thing.
A yeasty cake, yeah.
Yeah, but typically you use, like baking powder and baking soda and
flour.
What do you call it? No, it's a. What's that powder? It's it's an acid.
Acid powder.
It's a powdered acid that is words are escaping me right now.
Milk, eggs, sugar.
No, that's very helpful what you're doing right now.
Nothing helps a word come to your head more than some guy yapping in your ear the other words that aren't it. That's a very helpful method of getting people to remember what they were trying to say.
Cream of tartar.
Oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, it's tartaric acid, but it's called cream of tartar.
What's tartar sauce? Same deal?
Maybe tartar sauce has tartaric acid in it. I don't know. I've wondered that same thing, but never bothered to look it up.
All right. Well, the internet's there if we need it. We can always get in there and see what's up. All right. Well, that's fantastic. Watch for more coming there. Big week, though. I don't know what you got busy with, but everything I seem to hear from friends of mine were, where do I start?
The season started. Where do I start?
Yeah, a lot of where do I start? Because there are a lot of subsystems in the game. We talked about that at length last week, but I guess I would ask you, since you have dove in, head first, where did you start?
I always start with Mythic Plus or Delves sometimes. I usually try to run a Mythic dungeon when the season starts. Well, before, the way the typical rotation goes now is that new patch comes out. Mm-hmm. The first week, the season hasn't really technically started yet. It's usually the second week that the season starts. The first week is for like getting used to the new zone, going over there, doing some quests, learning the new system, whatever it is, and then figuring out your gear and all this kind of stuff. And then also what they do is they open the new dungeons that are going to be available, or in this case, just one dungeon. But there's always a new Mythic dungeon rotation, so they'll open that up, and you can start running them on the non-Mythic Plus. You can run them on Mythic difficulty, Mythic 0, they call it. Mm-hmm. But not on Mythic Plus yet, because Mythic Plus is part of the season, right?
Gotcha.
So that's what I did last week.
Yeah.
Ran all of those.
And this week on, what is it, Tuesday, you get everything turns over, right? Isn't that the deal?
The season starts.
Yeah.
You can start running your Mythic Plus dungeons. You get your keystones from completing a Mythic, and you can go on.
Do you think Blizzard does this as a preparatory thing, or is it because they want to catch bugs before
I mean, why not both? I think it's probably both. I think the way it benefits them is they can catch bugs because people start doing it. The way it benefits us is that we can kind of get ready for the season to start, you know. The raids haven't opened yet at that point, so you can start. Everybody's kind of rushing to do all the Mythic Zeros before the raid opens, get as much gear as they can that's available to them, and
sure.
And
it's almost like a free week to, I don't know. It's like getting to work an hour early, kind of, right?
Well, I would compare it more to a little bit, getting to work an hour, because you're gonna open whatever and you got to get the business ready, right?
Yeah,
all the things put in place. So
sure.
So it's kind of like, as players, that's what we're doing, is we're getting everything ready.
And so my first thing to do normally is I rush to the new zone and start doing story and quests and
and that's the quote unquote right thing to do, because you usually need to do some sort of like quest line to unlock the new system, which in this place it's like some altar that you have to get poison coins to put in the coin slot and buy new abilities that help you in the poison place. It's poison everywhere.
And reportedly very large. Everything I'm reading, like a couple of YouTubers I follow, they're all like, this place is freaking massive.
If you look at the map, the new island it's significant. It's like 70% of all the old stuff. It seems like it's huge. It's very big. But it's easy to get around. You're flying around and so that makes the underground, the subzone of the altar of Atalutek, that's the subzone in or it's the altar of Ulatek. That's what it is.
Ulatek.
Yeah. And so that's the subzone underneath. That's where the new dungeon is. That's where the entrance to the raid is, and where all the quests are that you have to do. And to, like what the new system is, basically, where I think I explained it last week. It's sort of this rotation of doing like, you do like, I don't know, you find people to help, and then it unlocks some strikes that you can do, and then the strikes unlock some other thing that you can do, and it ultimately culminates in it's the whole zone is working together to do these things that get harder and harder, and you need more and more people to help. It funnels people more and more into the same location, and then finally there's a raid or a world boss that ends up having to be killed, and then it's the whole rotation. Then the whole zone rotation starts over.
Gotcha. Okay, so they repeat. I was going to ask about that. They just sort of repeat it.
Yeah, it just keeps repeating.
Okay, I mean they've done that a million times with other things, so it makes sense that they would do it here.
Yeah, it just feels a little different. Like the flavor is a little different, but it's all very familiar. You just have to learn how it works in this place, and you can't fly when you're in the subzone, so you have to find these like little windy slip streams to step on, and they like launch you in the air, and then you can, glide for a little bit to get to a location. There are too many enemies all over the place. It's annoying. It actually is really annoying,
Really
moving around in this new place.
So is it just because you're not used to it, or you just feel like...
Yes, of course.
Right.
It's just me complaining because it's not the way I'm used to doing things.
Sure. I get you. But like the new 8 boss raid, the Venomous Abyss.
Yeah.
You don't get that till Tuesday. That's the big unlock, right?
I mean, this past Tuesday is when it unlocked.
I thought it was next Tuesday. So if you're getting it...
No, I've been in there, Scott. I've been in there.
Oh, well, then I got new questions. Because in my head, I thought this hadn't happened yet. But okay, so it's a thing. It's, you know what? It hasn't happened yet. It's just not up for like looking for raid. LFR is not happening yet. Or there's one wing.
Correct. Or is there
any? There's none
LFR
right now.
Yet. I think that's next week, maybe.
Okay,
maybe.
I think that's what I was thinking. So you've seen it then. You've gotten in there.
Yeah.
You did your thing. And you were world first. Just kidding. What happened in there? How did it go?
No, we got halfway through. I went with the Filthy Casuals. Shout out to my Filthy Casual brethren. And we went in there. I'm going to be going in with the Core Within group tonight also.
Yep. Fridays usually is when they play, I think. Sounds right.
Yeah, Friday nights.
Yep.
And so anyway, we went in, we killed 4 of the bosses. There's also a lair boss. That's a new thing that they're adding into this, and I guess it's going to continue. So in the last season 1 of Midnight, they added in sort of like a few weeks in, maybe a month in. No, I think it was with the 0.5 patch. They added like a 1 boss encounter, like raid, and it was flexible all the way up. Like it was flex group size all the way up to Mythic too. Like it had flexible Mythic size. So you could go in with it. Normally when you do a Mythic, all the raids are flexible size, right?
Right.
So you can take your 10-man group or your, I think up to...
It's up to 25, isn't it?
No, it's more than that. I never pay attention. It's not my job in the raid team to put together a roster, so I think it can go up to 30, maybe.
Oh, I didn't know that. I always thought it was locked at 25, but...
I know it goes at least up to 30. The reason there's a question mark in my voice is because I'm not sure if in those raids you can go up to 40. You might be able to. Anyway, that's not the important thing. It used to be that if you went past heroic raid sizes and you went up to mythic, then you would have to you'd be set at 20 people. Like that's how many people you can take.
Interesting.
And it's still the case. That's still the way. Like the Venomous Abyss, the current raid, if you go to Mythic, it's locked at 20. Now, this one raid encounter that they added in the 0.5 patch in the last season, this one boss raid was flexible. So now it's just like all the other raids, but all the way up to Mythic. So you could take a 10-person group and do it on Mythic, a 14-person, a 12-person, 23-person group, whatever. And anyway, so they now from the get-go in this season, they added the same thing, a one boss raid encounter, and they're calling it the lair boss, and it's Nimrissa Wavecaller. It's a big Naga boss that you fight.
Oh, I like the Naga. Kind of a fan of the fish folk.
Yeah, the Naga are pretty neat.
Yeah, been around for a long time. There's one that gets sliced from rib to shoulder in the opening cinematic of Burning Crusade, and I always enjoy that moment. And it's actually a troll doing it. The troll on his raptor mount comes swinging around. Schlunk. At least I think it is. It might be the orc. But this thing gets just split from like bottom of his rib up to his shoulder, and it's great. Cook that up. Yeah. It's good. It's good for you. Yeah.
Cook up some tasty
Naga steaks. Yeah.
Tastes a little fishy, but
I have some confirmation for you. It is 30, and also before we get emails about this, there is one wing to LFR open. The first wing is open.
Oh, there
right
is.
now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't do LFR. That's for chumps. There. See, we switched what type of email we're going to get.
Yep. The casuals are coming after us, Matt, now.
I'm just kidding. I do LFR. It's fine. I love it. I don't love it. I do it because I need to get access to the tier gear, but I love that it's an option for people. I'm just going to stop digging myself a hole.
Your Bobby's Brage counter needle is going. It's fun to watch.
But anyway, so yeah, we started with that. The Filthy Casual started with that, and that wasn't too bad. That was pretty fun. It's not too bad of an encounter. It felt like we didn't know what we were doing, and we still beat it. Everything we did was on normal. We haven't jumped into heroic yet.
Sure.
But we didn't really know very much of what we were doing, but we were still able to get the boss down. So not very hard.
Do you worry? This might be a hard thing to tackle in this conversation. So if it is, we don't have to. But I hear this a lot from players, that they think the game has been, if not ruined, maybe that's not the right word. It's been.
I hear that a lot from people all the time, that the game's been ruined.
I've been hearing that for 20 years. That the game has been altered in a negative way with mythic dungeons. And the drive and reward systems to get mythics and get your keystones and advance through the systems have taken away from other parts of the game that should be a greater priority. And they never really tell me what they mean by that. That's the problem, is they don't really say what they mean by something should be a greater priority. I'm curious. I know you like mythics, so this is maybe the wrong person to ask.
Yeah, I probably am the wrong person. I'm obviously biased, so I don't think that the game has been ruined for me with the way mythics work. But I understand where that question comes from. The question comes from the idea that if you're raiding now, if you want to be on like a raid team that is, almost any amount of serious, is trying to progress, is trying to get there, even just trying to get all the way through heroic before the end of the season to get ahead of the curve, the achievement, let alone getting access and trying to do mythic. Those raid teams are typically going to require you or strongly urge you to be doing Mythic Plus dungeons throughout the week to fill out your vault, your gear vault every week, to get gear from the mythics, to get the crests that you need to upgrade your gear. All of that you can get from Mythic Plus dungeons. And the
opponents to those, their beef would be that's because Blizzard's built too many systems that have made that a requirement. And then if there were other things in their mind, more compelling things to do to get your vault filled or to otherwise prepare you for your heroic and beyond raiding team.
I like that you're asking me these questions, because it's gonna lead nicely into a question that I eventually wanted to ask you today.
Excellent.
To chat with you about.
I like that. So, but what do you say to that? That it's, because what you just described as, well, yeah, these teams are going to expect you to do it. Well, that's because those are the systems in place. They wish they were something else, is what they generally argue. What they're arguing for, I'm not prepared to say, because I don't really know what they want in their place. Maybe they don't even know. They just want Blizzard to do something else besides this particular treadmill. But how do you respond?
I empathize with that argument. Like I said, I don't feel that way, but I know why people do feel that way. People have limited time, and I'm gonna start having a lot less free time in this season. So I may feel this way a lot in this season as well.
Sure.
But people have limited free time, and maybe they only have the opportunity to log in on raid night, and then maybe just a little bit here throughout the week, and maybe they're spending that time, doing something that they casual, like really like relaxing, chill, that they would rather be doing, and they don't want to have to get on and intensely push keys in Mythic Plus just so that they can get their gear up. I was having chat on Discord about sort of this very idea with some people on our Discord earlier today and last night. And the idea was that that even if you know that you don't have to do that, like you're on a team. You don't want to be the person that is not doing that and letting everybody else down, right?
Right.
because you want to show up for your teammates, right? But then also, you might say, well, then just go on to a team that doesn't care about that sort of thing. Well, I do understand, even if you're on a team that doesn't make you do that, you still might not want to be that guy,
Yeah.
that doesn't do it, where maybe half or more of the rest of the team does have time and is doing those things. I get that. And so I understand where those concerns come from, and I understand the urge to say that has ruined the game, or ruined raiding for you, because now you can't just raid. Now you also have to Mythic Plus in order to get the gear to be able to then go into raid and beat those bosses.
Right.
I don't know. I wish I had a solution for that, because I don't. I think Blizzard, I get the sense that they understand that is happening, because they're introducing so many other ways to get gear. Now, here's the problem. Every time Blizzard adds in a new way to get those types of gear, like Prey, you can get mythic gear from doing Prey by going and talking to our favorite sex icon, Astalor.
Yeah.
He'll give you missions to go out and hunt people down and kill them, and you can get mythic gear. You can fill out your vault. You can get access to mythic gear eventually, or at least very high level heroic gear that you can upgrade. You can do that. Oh. You can go and do delves all on your own, and you can get that gear. And it's it's a little bit slower, but you can get access to the gear and be able to sort of keep up. We have people on our team who keep up really pretty well doing that solo content.
Yeah, the stuff from not last season. I guess it was last season, but anyway, the expansion launch, that's how I did it. And I was ready.
Now here's the problem, though, when Blizzard adds those solutions in. Even if their entire intention is to give people a pressure release valve and a way to do things differently.
Yeah.
Now, people who have a lot of time and are really into World of Warcraft, now they have another way to optimize their rise to the highest levels of gear. And so then over time it then becomes those ways also get incorporated into the optimal way for you. So now you feel like you have to do Mythic Plus. You have to do all your Nightmare Prey for the week. You have to do all your delve runs and use your maps to make sure you get access to the highest level gear. And you have to do these things in order to raid.
So it's the old min-max problem, just a new form of it.
More options. And I think this is a real design problem that people have to think about, that Blizzard has to think about, which is sometimes more options, as contradictory as it sounds. I don't know if I truly believe this or not, but it may be that more options may be a bad thing, because it makes a significant portion of the community feel like it's not an option.
Yeah, and if they feel that way, that leads to unsubs, disinterest, people going, I'll come back when they... You know what I mean? And Blizzard doesn't want to encourage that sort of thing. I'm not saying it's all about the money, but part of balancing a video game in this context, like a big service, live, mega server video game, like an MMO, you have to account for that stuff. And more is sometimes less if you introduce too many systems. It's already a problem. It's all ready to get new or old players back, because you say, hey, come on back in. We'll welcome you anytime. But then you look at what's here now and you just go, holy freaking shit. People always say, how come World of Warcraft basically resets the clock with every expansion? They make it so you can just get in and go. All the gear you earned, all that hard work you did in the previous expansion, it's all worse than the greens you're going to pick up in your starting zone of the new campaign. Well, the alternative to that is closer to what Final Fantasy does, and that is a more the path is just a little bit more connected, and that seems cool. But the problem with that is now you're an eternity of systems that you have to pay attention to.
The barrier to entry is very high.
Yeah, so they have to adjust that barrier occasionally, and they do it with number squishes, stat squishes, stuff like that. I mean, I get why this is a huge challenge, and it shouldn't be. People who take it lightly are just like, Blizzard's too lazy to come up with alternatives. I don't think it's never that simple. Well, anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
That leads to the question I really wanted to ask you about today when in our chat here. And then maybe we can get to, because I'm sure our conversation is generating lots of questions that people have.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear what the chat. Be ready, because we're coming to you in a second.
Which is, given what we've just been saying about how, changing the game and adding these new options changes the way that people play, and a lot of people don't like that, and they've got a problem with that. What obligation does Blizzard have, or really what obligation does any game company that is making a game that, well, really any game, what obligation do you think a game company has to make a game that their player base will continue to enjoy, rather than making the game that they feel is a good game? Does that question make sense as the way I'm putting it?
I've thought about this before.
Where's the line between almost game as to me, it's like a question of where's the line between game as the art form that the developers and the creators have versus it being a consumer product that consumers are going to consume.
Right. No, I think that's a great point or a great question. And it's something I've wrestled with for years, because on the one hand, video games, even small indie single player small games that you paid $8.99 for, are works of art and artistry and technical knowledge and all of this stuff coming together. And often they're the product of the vision of the creator or creators, team, sometimes individuals or whatever. Obviously with World of Warcraft, we're talking about a massive team that was kind of massive to begin with. Bigger now, but back in the day it was still a lot of people. And that does make a difference, but the principles are the same. You have some vision somewhere at the top about what this is going to be. And that's when that kind of ends, though. And then you have to ask yourself, well, what am I making this for? Am I part of the business of making video games? And it is a business. So even that guy with the $8.99 priced thing on Steam, if he wants to sell copies of his game, then he has to do something that resonates with players, or enough players to make that difference to reach whatever levels he wants to reach. And if he launches it and finds out that half the people who bought the thing really don't like a certain system, and let's say he's in early access and he could even alter this, but he's just so true to his vision. Well, no, this is not how I envisioned it. I envisioned it like this. He can do that. He certainly has the wherewithal and the freedom to do it, but what he can't do is control the business side's reaction. Either not buying it or returning it, or it just fizzling out because nobody was interested or whatever, but he held true to his vision. And then there's the other side, which is trying to microtransact your entire bank account away slowly over time with things you don't need. And then the whole goal there, the vision is a very different kind of vision. It's not a personal, artistic, or story-based or any of those kinds of visions. It's a vision of how do we nickel and dime this person and then do that en masse so enough people are doing it that this pays for everything. As long as the gaming is a business, and in Blizzard's case, as long as they have to provide a product that people regularly subscribe to in enough numbers to justify its continued existence, then they have to balance that vision with systems and customer expectations. And it'll never be perfect, and it'll never get everybody, but it will always be an attempt to cast the widest possible net. And it's frustrating because on the one hand, in a utopian ideal, I could see the idea if we could figure this out, somebody could come to the table with a game, and even if it's not great for me to play it, somebody somewhere is finding incredible satisfaction out of it simply because this person stuck to their vision. They didn't make a profit on it. It didn't matter. They just wanted to create it. And I think that's a noble and cool idea, but it's not realistic at all in our current society for anybody to do such things. So I think catering to what most of your players want, if you've been able to earn a player base, which Blizzard has done, now what do you do to maintain them and keep them as much as possible? Well, that is what they have to do. They have to do that.
But you do have to have a clear vision. And I think that's part of that's something that historically Blizzard has done really well, is that the games, the products that they make, they have a clear vision. It's clear that they're trying to make a game a certain way. And they're going to stick to that. But a lot of times I hear from play, and this is kind of what inspired, I guess, the question in the first place, is I hear complaints sometimes that kind of boil down to, well, the players don't like this and this thing that Blizzard has done to the game. And let's forget whether or not it's true to just cast such a wide net and say the players as a whole don't like this thing. But that's the arguments that's made. Yeah. So let's assume that it's correct. The players don't like this thing. Sometimes I get the thought in my head and I wonder, like, but isn't it okay for someone who's creating a game to say this? I understand that you don't like it, but this is the game we want to make. Mm-hmm. And it feels bad to say, if you don't like it, then go play something else. Like,
it does feel bad. Yeah.
It feels bad to say that, because especially in a game like this, where Blizzard clearly owes the freedom that they have to make these kinds of decisions to such a large player base, devoted player base that has given them lots and lots and lots of money over the decades,
Sure.
And so that's where I struggle with wondering, does Blizzard owe the player anything? Part of me wants to say no, but part of me wants to say, well, clearly they think they owe something to them, because they're listening to people, getting their feedback, trying to make changes. They want people to enjoy the game. So I don't know. It's a really, I struggle with the question,
Yeah, no, it's a hard one to answer for lots of reasons, especially the larger you get, the more complex it gets. But I try to keep it, like you were talking about with your guides earlier, if you just boil it down to the core principles of what is a video game and why should people be interested.
Yeah.
I think there's something to learn there by just mulling that over sometimes, just thinking about what are your options in this modern place we find ourselves in. And you could have asked yourself this question in the mid 90s when it was all consoles and cartridges. And you could have asked yourself this again in the, mid aughts with everybody doing CD consoles and PC starting to do things that were interesting, and, the birth of the MMO in general.
Yeah. I
guess late 90s, if I'm going to give EverQuest any credit. But it's worth this. I think it's worth discussing, because at the end of the day, screaming for Blizzard to provide you with a thing that you think they're not giving you, how much should Blizzard have to actually reply to that? If they responded to every demand that anyone ever gave them for the last 20 years, they'd be out of business, dude. Like, the company wouldn't exist. They couldn't handle that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And there's nothing to lose on the part of the angry gamer who says, if you don't add this feature, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
What you have to do is you use the tools at your disposal and balance this idea of, like, well, we know even internally that this one system's not as fun as it could be. So we are working on that. But this thing that 3 of our 10 players, just to keep the math simple, are demanding will actually not help us overall and may hurt the other 7 players. 8, 9, 10. 4 players. 8 players. My math hurts today. So you have to play according to the 8 or the 7. And those 2 or 3 or 4 are going to have to just live with the way things are. And if they rotate out and we get somebody new in, so then you spend time on how do we get new people in? Like, that's the balance they have to do. But then they have to do it at a scale that is astronomical. I don't know how they do it. I'll be honest, like, a 20-year run at this and still being the dominant name in MMOs is a rarefied thing. I can't think of another example of this except like Coca-Cola or something. Where a brand really nails the thing and then just never leaves. their position of dominance.
Kleenex.
Kleenex is a great example. We literally call it the brand name, even though it's not the name of the damn thing in the box, if it's a different brand. So, Band-Aid's another good one. But it's synonymous with MMOs. A few have tried. Some have come close. Some are still kicking it, like freaking Final Fantasy 14. I think deserves so much credit for overcoming an insane amount of obstacles to redo themselves after it failed miserably at first.
Yeah.
And look where they've come, and they have a huge dedicated base. And I have all the admiration in the world for that. But so many games have come, tried and failed. Various stages of development kicked out of there. The one that hurts the most for me is more of a personal one, but working with Greg Street, who used to be at Blizzard and had a lot to do with World of Warcraft success, starting his own MMO and then having funding yanked out from underneath him by NetEase was a painful moment, not just for him and me, but I think, and everybody on their team, but everybody who was looking forward to that thing. It just felt like, oh man. But then it's just this reminder, it's a business, and they can't even get to the point where they can find out if the players are happy with the system or not. They can't even get to, because they're still trying to get to the point where the industry has to decide if there's room for them to play or not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really answer the question, but I know that our listeners are going to have some thoughts on all this stuff. So we'd love to hear what you guys think about that situation. Before we get to some of the emails and some thoughts people already have in the chat that I want to share, I'd like to tell you a thing that I learned yesterday.
Yes,
BlizzCon announced all the people that are going to come and be a big deal at BlizzCon. And we're not going, even though I put in for press credentials for myself, for Bobby, and for the core crew. And most years that would have been enough, but they're doing it different now. They got literally a handful of people that they're having out and covering their stuff and everything. And they kind of have left the grassroots style community efforts. They kind of left that in the dust this year. It's a little bit of a bummer, and this is not me saying this with any ire in my voice. I get it and I understand it, but it's being run by very different people right now. Most of which don't even work at Blizzard. This event is no longer a internal Blizzard event with hands-on from everyone across all the departments like it used to be. It's mostly an outside company that does it now. So anyway, we're not going. I'd love to go, but we're not.
If you want to, if it's up to you, the listener, to let them know that next year that that a BlizzCon is not a BlizzCon without us.
Yeah. Let them feel the heat, man.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for all the years they did. They would reach out to us, and it was always, they were very proactive about it. We never had to ask, but
there's no way I would have been able to go this year anyway, but
yeah, there's a lot going on. Plus, I don't know, this year's hard for me too, but it's also just it's just a different thing. The Prime is gone. It's not even a negative thing. BlizzCon's going to probably be cool, and they're going to show it for free to everybody. The virtual pass things.
That's what I'm excited about, is I don't have to pay to watch it this year.
No, we just watch it like any other video game presentation. I think that's a good move. And they still have tickets, so if people want to go, you can go. This, it's just different now. And it's okay that it's different. I think the Prime ended around 2019. And it got weird from there. And it's not just the pandemic. There were other things, involved. And it's okay. I got to be there for that, and I loved it. Yeah. And I'll never forget that 30,000 people audience and being on stage and doing Q&A.
Yeah.
A life-defining moment for me.
Well, that's why it stopped for a while, is they were like, what else can we do?
Yeah, we topped
Johnson
it
on stage.
We topped it. Yeah, we can't. How do we go past this? Well, they did the next year, so they were fine. But, and I'm the only person that's ever done it twice. I did it for it's kind of a cheat though, right?
That's not even a humble brag. That's just a brag.
It's just a brag. It's just the truth. I did 2018 stage, and then I did 2021's at home one because of COVID, so everybody was at home, and I got to do that, and that was fun. But it doesn't really count because it was freaking live stream, big deal. Anyway, here's the point. Here's who they've got coming in lieu of people like Bobby Frankenberger. Simu Liu, you know him as Shang-Chi in the 10 Rings or whatever. I forget the name of that movie.
I guess I've heard of it.
I like that movie a lot. It's one of my favorite MCU movies. But he's going to be there doing some StarCraft stuff, playing in some. They're real sketchy on what's actually happening, but gonna do some repping for that. Musician T-Pain.
T-Pain.
You may know.
That, like, yeah.
No,
That guy?
testosterone pain. No, I think it's isn't he he's the what's the thing where you alter your voice to be better singers? What's that called?
Talking about man, why do you gotta ask me?
Gosh dang it. It's the thing voice.
Talking about
no.
auto-tune?
Auto-tune. He's a big auto-tune guy. He helped develop it or something in music. Anyway, I'm not a big T-Pain follower, so I don't know much about him. Anyway, T-Pain will be there. I know the name. Electronic artist Deadmau5. I love him. I saw him in concert in Vegas a couple years ago. Nothing wrong with Deadmau5 or Deadmau5 if you were my mother before she passed. She could never say Deadmau5. He'll be there, I assume, in some Diablo sense because he's a huge Diablo fan, and there could be something there.
Yeah, for sure.
Streamer Duke Dennis, who last night on Core we found out is one of the Kai Cenat streamer college people or streamer, what's it called? Whatever it is. In the chat, just jumping out with all the auto tunes. I can't remember the name of the thing. Streamer University, that's it. And he's like professor there, they call them. But basically it's like just I don't know. I don't understand a lot about it. It's fine. It's all good. I saw
We're old
and we're not the target audience. But anyway, Duke Dennis is coming. Actor Cleo Thomas. I'm not sure who that is. But they spell their name Khleo. That's how you say Cleo in this case. Don't know who it is. Sorry. K-pop acts Yasobi and Le Seraphim. I thought Yasobi was a Japanese band or a group, but I could be wrong. Anyway, Le Seraphim, they've been there before. This will be a returning act for them, which means our friend Tom Merritt will probably buy tickets just to see them because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And
K-pop.
Yep. And Yasobi will perform the first ever halftime show in the Overwatch World Cup arena, while Le Seraphim will be the big main stage closing thing on Sunday. It's interesting that they're doing so much K-pop, which again is a sign of that this is a changing event. Like in the day, it would be Metallica and freaking Blink-182 one year and Ozzy Osbourne in 2009, and like a lot of metal. Gen X metal shit.
Yeah.
Now it's like, nope, K-pop, top to bottom.
Right.
Streamers that nobody over 40's heard of, and T-Pain and Deadmau5. Anyway, that's what's happening.
T-Pain's an odd one in that group, but
kind of agree. Maybe he's a super fan and we just don't know about it. Sometimes that'll get you in.
It's fine.
But, yeah. I think they should have T-Pain. He should do the WoW Q&A, but do it with an auto-tune thing. They're like, what's gonna happen with rap? Like that. Yeah. You made me laugh. I pushed my chair away. Hold on. My wheels went. There we go. All right. We can't have that. Let's get to some of these comments and questions. I'm going to just start with one I just saw in the chat from Crypto Griffin in chat. He says, maybe Blizzard has realized that the FOMO raider is actually not a significant proportion of the player base and is actually quite small. Maybe many people, I think he meant this differently, but he says, maybe many people just to pick and choose what they want. And in fact, making the all-you-can-eat buffet even larger actually makes more people realize, oh, I can just play what I like to play. I mean, I think that's a decent take on why they do it. Like they gave
the FOMO raider, I'm assuming is what they're calling the person I was describing, the person who's like, I need to get in there and raid, that's the end game, and I need to keep up with people, and I need to do Mythic Plus and Delves and all this, everything that is quote unquote required to get the best gear I can.
Yeah, and some of that FOMO I think comes from the fact that that portion of the player base that's kind of hardcore about this. Yeah. They have a path and they have chosen it, and all the guides, all the things, all the coverage, all the Wowhead posts, all this stuff seems to boister their plan. So you get FOMO about that going, really? I'd just like to do a couple of prays and maybe some delves this week. Can I do that? Yeah. No, you got to get this. And you know what I mean? I understand it. I don't know if I'd call it FOMO, because fear of missing out is a little bit different than just feeling like you can't participate and therefore you won't. You know what I mean?
Can we get like a pair of gloves that maybe you get from the Astalor quests? Maybe it looks like there's like streams of that that blood stuff coming out of it, that like anima blood stuff that come out of like gloves that you wear that do that, and then the gloves are called prey hands.
Dude, I'm into it. Let's go. The answer is yes, we can do that.
I want prey hands.
We can do anything we want with enough commitment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you and I tomorrow could go have these gloves made, and then the world would just have to groove on it. That would be the end of it. Dread Pirate Rami says, I am a casual, delves, dailies, alts, LFR, time walking. You sound like me, dude. That's how I like to play this game. Yeah. He says, Mythic hurts in a way that's not easy to get into, and to hell with needing 2 to 5 websites or apps to figure out how to play the tune I want to play.
Mythic is kind of difficult. Mythic Plus, you gotta know what all the bosses are. Like, there's no, it's not a jump in and do it kind of dungeon. You have to, if you're a tank, you have to know what the route is. I mean, honestly, if you're anybody in there, you kind of need to know what the route is to know what to expect. But the tank needs to know the route. You need to know what the bosses require that's different than heroic. You need to make sure you're using the right, specs, like talent choices, because it's going to be different than, say, raids or just even going out and around in the world, because it's all about doing large group damage, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not easy to get into Mythic Plus. There's a whole way to do it,
by design, because there's a portion of the player base that wants this thick, crunchy.
Yeah. I mean, Mythic Plus, one of the great things about it is that it takes smaller groups, so you can do it by yourself, because you can just like find with the group finder tool, you can find groups to do it. I have said many times before on the show that's how I like to do it. I jump in and pug and try to do it by myself.
Sure.
But I know tons of people who also have a team, and the team works on going higher and higher and higher. And that's probably actually if you want to get into really high keys, that's what it's easier to do it with a team. And so, but the group is either solo or small, rather than having to have a whole team of, 10, 15, 20 people or more to go raid with,
Yeah. It's also an important thing to remember that Blizzard literally employs PhD level social scientists at Blizzard.
Yeah, sure.
For this, because what are we really talking about here? We're talking about kind of a virtual version of classism / you have time I don't have, the haves, the have-nots, the ones that are willing to put it all in, they're pulling their bootstraps up, and the ones that don't have the kind of time to play, they just feel like they're left in the dirt. It mirrors a lot of societal stuff sometimes. And I think it's actually wise of them to have those people on staff, but it's also how they tune this. They're tuning this to fit the most people possible. And they've done that for a long time, and they will continue to do that for a long time. It's easy to think that we live in a time where every individual player's voice matters, and Blizzard will even tell you that. But what really matters is the aggregate, and the aggregate blows one way. That is the way Blizzard will blow. And most companies at this size, that's the way it works. Again, neither good nor bad. I'm not applying any judgment here. I just think it's the way of it. Yeah. Benjin006 says, create something you think the players would enjoy. If not, even if you like it, let it go. If you create something you don't like, but the users do, figure out why. And if it's true to the game, if it is, try to adjust to make it enjoyable for you to create. Don't force something on your players where the singular goal is profit. Figure out how to add something or tweak something so you both can enjoy making it and make it profitable. Yeah, I mean, especially in this, there was kind of the earlier conversation about an indie developer, but in that situation, if you're building something you don't want to play, or it's going in a direction you don't want to play, that's probably really frustrating. You got to figure that shit out, man, because either make it or you don't.
And I mean, the argument there is that that like I think it's number one of the core values of Blizzard, which is gameplay first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think in large part, I'm not trying to make people angry by saying this, but I think in large part that does motivate them and does drive their development. Yes, there are lots of ways they try to monetize and nickel and dime you, and I'll be right there with you and complaining about some of those. But I do think that they are trying to find fun ways to play the game. It's hard to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
And you're not always going to succeed. In fact, they've failed many, many times at making things that are not fun. And I've complained about them plenty, it's hard.
If there's anything in this world that scales the most difficultly, it's people, it's human beings. And you can say that about society and government and, whatever countries, nations, races, whatever, but try doing it on a video game scale and it's not really all that different. It's kind of the same problem. The bigger it gets, the harder it is.
One of the things that's cool about World of Warcraft is that there are so many different ways that people can engage with it that allow us all to play in this world together, even though we're playing very differently. Someone in the chat, Snooky2, was saying, I'll probably never do anything that has mythic in the name, but I realize I'm one of many types of fish in the ocean, and I'm more or less like to pick different bites of things from the buffet of options in WoW. And that's crazy to hear to me that you will never do anything like if there was no mythic dungeons in the game, I don't know that I would play.
Yeah.
So it's crazy for me to hear that someone would never engage with that, but I get that's just that's not how you have fun. But there are also so having lots of different options make it possible for me and Snooky, I think it's Smooky. Anyway.
Snooky, Smooky.
Smooky in the chat we can play in the same world because there are so many different options. But then you've got people like Tazeret Dynamite who also said in the chat, housing added a new vector to collect, and that was great. But the sheer amount of items and difficulty of collecting those items turns me off to that, which is an example of how having so many different options can be overwhelming. And I understand that too. So it is really hard to balance.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and are they ever going to be perfect? No, because nobody's idea of perfection is the exact number. So,
but I want to be careful because I agree with what you're saying. But I want to be careful and push back on ourselves here and say that that doesn't mean we should give them a pass, right?
Right.
And just
I
be
agree
like,
with that. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we should be like, well, you did something that's not fun. You can't win every time. You can't please everybody. Oh well, we should still hold them to account and say like no, this sucked.
And we're paying for it. Like we are, there is a transactional relationship here.
And that's a very good point. Yeah. Like it's not like we bought the game and then we were done.
Right.
We pay for it like monthly, so like it's a subscription service game. So yes, there is, that goes back to our question before, right? Like, so maybe in that, a balance of do they get to make the game they want versus do they owe something to the player base? Maybe they do owe, maybe it swings more towards owing to the player base because it's a subscription service game.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally, if all of us tomorrow canceled, it would shape WoW.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we're not going to do that. But if there was a sudden, let's just say a 50% drop in subs because no one liked a thing, Blizzard would respond. They would have to. What else are you going to do? That's your player base. That's too big of a cut. If they lose 50 people here because it's not as easy to cheat anymore or exploit something, that's a reasonable loss of people. They'll make it up on the long run. But if they're doing things that are actively pushing us away, we have every right to say and to pull the plug on what we pay for and only pay for it again when we're happy with where they're headed. So that's an important part of this. Omega 9X says, I don't know if we're losing anything by having Mythic Plus, since it's really hard, since it's really just a harder version of something that already exists. If it turns into the only viable way to get the best loot, though, that could be a problem. Well, I think that's the balance we're talking about and I agree with Omega 9 here. That is why we have systems like Prey and even the housing system now. Like you have other things to do that will get you there. Delve's probably the best example of the last few years. Of a viable path, right, to fill out your stuff and do well enough to join raid the next Tuesday or whatever. And
I think that's one of the arguments that was being made earlier is that Mythic Plus has become, or that's the argument that you were representing. A lot of people have is that a lot of people feel that Mythic Plus really is one of the only viable options that you have for making sure that you can keep up.
Right.
I don't agree, but I understand why people feel that way.
Yeah. Benjamin says housing is so meh, but it's a good illustration of that's how.
Yeah, I love housing.
I really like housing too. I think they've done, this is the best version of housing that exists in MMOs today. It still is probably meh to Benjamin because housing is just not an interesting thing to him. I feel that way about other systems in this and other games. So I feel this way about genres. I don't ever want to play a tower defense game. Now, some would say some of those ideas have been mushed into other genres and they kind of work there. Like Loop Hero is one of my all-time favorite games, and it employs kind of a reverse tower defense, but it works in that case, and it's beloved by me. But just like traditional, I need to build up these towers, then here comes the horde, and now let's see if the towers can take them down. I hate that genre so bad that it just makes me kind of feel nauseous thinking about it. But I have friends who are hardcore, love it. They love that shit. And they should get it. And I'm glad they have it. And there's room for everybody kind of thing. So WoW is rife with things that some people just do not care for and other people really like. And I think that'll continue to happen. Neketh in the chat says, I stopped playing over a year ago because I got tired of chasing the carrot of gear, then waiting for people for the Mythic Plus groups. That's a whole other issue, right? I was kind of trying to get to this earlier, but there's a pattern to all of this that's pretty predictable now, right? Like, big patch coming. You got a week to do some run around and get some shit done, and then it launches, and then hey, you casuals are gonna have to wait for the whole 4 winger or 8 wings or whatever it's gonna be. But here's a little taste the first week, and you can kind of go in there and do that. Like it's always the same sort of plan, and I don't know when or if that ever drastically changes. It will always be iterated over time and over vast amounts of expansion time. You'll see changes that seem major, but they were built up to it. I mean, Mythic Dungeons were that in the first place. Dungeons themselves, freaking raiding in that game. It started out as a 40-man concept. It was all minimum 40
only. Yeah.
You went in with 40, you took on Ragnaros, and you did your best, and you went home sad because you didn't get shit. Like that was raiding, and maintaining that over time without having any flexibility of like flex rating and being able to have lesser numbers because 5 of you are sick or whatever. Like it's just not tenable in the long run. Well, they didn't do that overnight. It took forever. You just chip away at it and dink with it and fiddle with it. And that's where we're at. So I get when people get burned out on that loop because in the short term, that loop is obvious. It's like, here we go again. Same deal. Which is why I've been slow to care too much about this patch. Because I'm just kind of like, well, it's sort of aren't we kind of doing the same thing? We're just on the same treadmill, which not everybody's opinion, but that's how I felt about it a little bit.
Obviously not my opinion.
Yeah. What I want is I would love some really, I'll tell you what I really, really want. I'm a Spice Girl.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
They're never going to do this, or maybe they will, because all the money's coming out of Warcraft IP now. Both Diablo and Overwatch are doing well right now, and it helped their quarter, and it helped them become the biggest. We talked about last week the biggest performing studio that Microsoft now has under the Xbox gaming umbrella, which is really good for them. But I think that the writing has been on the wall for a while that you just need to do more in Warcraft, and I would just kill for them to just finally go like a full open world Skyrim level single player focused game set in the Warcraft universe, which some people are going to go, they'll never do it. And maybe they never will do it, but it's such money on the table, man.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not enough multiplayer money or esports money or wherever their priorities are right now. I don't know exactly, but holy shit, I would play
this. This is a good place. This is a good question to ask people to email us about for next week, which is if you were going to design your Skyrim or Fallout version of World of Warcraft, your open world single player version, where in the story would it take place if it's in the past, or what would the story be, and what would the part, like what slice of life and what slice of the world and what would the story be? I want to hear what people can pitch.
Yeah, I like that a lot. We'll follow this up next week. We'll ask it in real time, but also if you guys want to get that stuff out ahead of time, send it to theinstance@gmail.com or go to the website. You can contact us the various ways there at frogpants.com/instance. Is that what I did? Yes.
Yeah.
One final note. This is an email that I just thought was really nice.
I was going to ask you, did we get any emails?
We did. This one was really nice. It came to theinstance@gmail.com and says, love that you guys are back. Missed the show. Or missed the show is what he probably meant to say. What I really like is the tweak toward the more conversational. Was this a choice or did this come out? Did it just come out that way? Keep it up regardless. Henny is his name. So thank you, Henny, for the message. A little both.
It's kind of both. It was, I can speak to that. It was, we love doing this show, but you know, we've kind of started it and stopped it a couple of times since it was revived. And, we were thinking, well, we'd love to do it again, but are we just going to stop again? Like I don't want to
talk about iterating systems. That's what we have done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we thought, what's the biggest roadblock here? There were kind of two things. First was, the way we were doing it before took a lot of prep. And then the second one was we're not always both playing all the time. And so it's hard to do all the prep and you don't want to just like make notes about what's going on in the game and pretend that you know what you're talking about. So if you're not playing it, it doesn't feel great to.
Well, that's part of it too. But even if we were both like hardcore up to our noses in it at the moment, we just live in a different time. In 2006, this made sense when this show was launched, and I'd say all the way up through like Mists of Pandaria and maybe a little bit beyond, it made sense because then you had this. This is the way you would get information out. This is how you would get that information. You are now rife with stuff, whether it's microblogging sites or freaking YouTube constantly pestering you, or your favorite live streamer, or a million other sources. Wowhead, sending you notifications every other minute, telling you what's happening, why it's happening, who talked, who said what, blah, blah, blah. Like it just started to seem like we were trying to force an old model to continue to be it.
I think the way that I put it to you, Scott, was let's just not do news anymore. There's so many other people that are doing it and doing it really well. Let's just not worry about it. I mean, we'll talk about something if we're interested in what's going on.
Of course.
And then that kind of led us to think, why don't we like talking about it. Why don't we just get on and talk about it? There's
times where you overthink this stuff. And I think a show this old with as much storied history, it's easy to want to apply a template to it, and it didn't need it. So the listener's right. Henny, you've figured us out.
you pulled back the curtain and you snuck a peek at us
and you saw we were nude.
Yeah.
Whoops. And you ran. And that was the right thing to do. Right thing to do. Anyway, keep that question in your head though for next week, everybody. Single player Warcraft game. What do you want that to be?
Yeah.
What should that game be? I think it's a great time to talk about it because we got BlizzCon in less than a month. And we'll probably get word on some new projects, is the rumor. Mostly StarCraft is my guess, but, something could happen in the Warcraft game. Hell, I'd take a single-player StarCraft game at this point. Just give me something new to play, Blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that'll do it for us. I don't know if I ever said this last week or the week before, but you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/instance is the place to do it. If you like the show, you enjoy your time here, just toss us $1 or whatever. A month or whatever it is. And, let us know that you enjoy the show. That would be awesome of you. Patreon.com/instance. And of course, everything over at frogpants.com/instance. And frogpants.com's got a lot of stuff going on, so you'll find something fun there to do. Babu, we got anything else before we want to peel out of here?
Not really. If you like science, go check out All Around Science. That's my science podcast. That's all I got to say about
It's really good if you want some good science. So go get some good science. We'll be back next week with some very bad science here on the Instance. And we record, this is the other thing. We record at 2 p.m. Mountain Time on Fridays. Next Friday's a little weird because I might actually be at my anniversary and I haven't figured out what I'm doing yet for time, but I will figure it out and let people know. So there's a chance next week doesn't happen, but we'll keep you guys informed. Yeah. Occasionally things will pop up, but that is the plan moving forward. So if you want to join us live, check it out that day. All right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody. See you next time.
Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.